So yeah, so you've been doing all right?
Yeah, you keep your head up times like this. I think that's where the support of a lot of people help you through things like this.
Absolutely. Well, just so everybody who will end up watching this knows, I am talking with Chris, the owner of Barrio down at Portland Mercado. It's the bar that's right there on the corner of the building, right next to the food carts. So you've been doing all right and keeping your head up, and the bar's doing okay. It's just trying to do what it can for what we got going on.
Yeah, you try to evolve. I think
Mhm.
like the carts in the grocery is set up more for to-go business,
Mhm.
but because I'm attached to the concept, I fortunate to have a really supportive community around me that come to the Mercado or come to the bar. They've been regulars for years, and so you kind of like sustain yourself because of that community. And I'm really fortunate. So, the other thing you have to do is you try to evolve with the times. So, I've shifted to a to-go model. I've purchased growlers. I've like started doing, my homemade sangria by bottles. I do michelada kits, things that you have to just try to evolve and still try to like be relevant to people that like aren't able to sit at the bar or on the patio, but still, try to bring that type of service and the type of products they really want.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely going to put a plug in for your sangria. It's fantastic. It was going to be one of my last questions for you, but I'll just throw it in now. Where did that recipe come from?
It's just, I've spent quite a bit of time in Spain, so it's really a Spanish recipe.
Hmm.
I use like all the red wines I offer, from Pinots to Syrah. I use a blend with Tempranillo, and then I add some rosé into it and some champagne. I
Nice.
infused it with like citrus for about 24 hours. And so it took, years to kind of like find the right balance, because you never, I don't add sugar or juice. So you don't want it to be sweet, but you also don't want it to just taste like cold red wine.
Yeah.
So I think after, some time experimenting with it, but originally it's a recipe that I got from the south of Spain near Sevilla and near Granada and Alhambra.
Nice. Fantastic. It does have a really good body, and you are correct that it's not overly sweet. Um, and it's a little bit dangerous with the champagne in there. It kind of,
Uh,
yeah, it'll it'll grab you quick. So, how long has the bar been open?
the bar's been open, so the Mercado and Barrio has been open exactly 5 years. It opened on April 11th in 2015, so it's been exactly 5 years. Like,
Wow.
so, yeah, I know it's gone by. Sometimes it feels like it's gone by quickly, and then sometimes it feels like that 5 years is like a lot longer than 5 years.
Yeah, I can imagine. Um, so how did you get connected with the Mercado as a place to open a bar? Like talk about your evolution in becoming a bar owner and then connecting in with the Mercado as it was opening.
Yeah, so I don't have any bar experience. I spent my first career as a retailer, as a retail buyer, as a store director. And then I took some time and traveled around the world, for a period of time. And then when I came back, I started my second career at Nike, and I was at Nike for over 10 years in product marketing and sales and golf and equipment. So I have a lot of retail marketing. I have a lot of product marketing. I have a lot of marketing experience, but really no experience as a bar owner or as a small business owner. And I took a period of time off to be a stay-at-home dad for like 8 years. And then this opportunity came up where I was connected with a nonprofit, the Hacienda,
Mhm.
and they were looking for somebody to like run the bar. And at that time, I had a business partner, and I was interested because the hacienda is in a part of the city that I find very authentic. I think Southeast Portland is really just a really special neighborhood and community. A lot of artists, a lot of musicians, a lot of people, and Foster-Powell was just a emerging area that I found very, very intriguing. And so I got connected by just really attaching myself to a nonprofit that really, I wasn't interested in owning a regular bar that just served drinks and had lottery and open until 2 o'clock. I was more interested in the fact that the Mercado and the Hacienda wanted to celebrate Latin culture, and they wanted to really like feature, foods from different countries of Latin America, and really just celebrate that Hispanic culture in different ways, through events, through music. And so I found that really intriguing to be able to and it was really started as a business incubator for new businesses, emerging businesses for mainly Hispanics that were starting out in the food business, because there's a commissary kitchen here that really services quite a few businesses within the community. And so because of that, I really, was very interested, made a pitch about just owning the bar, but mainly having it as a community meeting spot. So not doing liquor, but doing beer and wine, and then really celebrating culture through music, through events, and then really just being part of a village of small businesses that really kind of work together to do that.
Nice. So had you known about Foster-Powell before this project, or was it sort of like something that you kind of just fell into? You're like, oh, hey, that might be a pretty cool place. Had you spent a lot of time down in Southeast? Like, what's your connection to this area besides just owning the bar?
I originally didn't spend a lot of time in Southeast, more in Northeast, because
that's where Hacienda also has their headquarters and everything.
Yeah, so Hacienda has their headquarters on Killingsworth. So I didn't really know about this area, to be quite honest with you. But after doing a lot of research about because at that time the original Mercado was empty. It used to be a used car lot a long time ago, and then I think it was in disuse for about 5 years. So when the opportunity came up, I did quite a bit of research, but I liked just the actual myriad of different businesses. At that time, 5 years ago, Foster was still starting to kind of
turn over.
Yeah, it was starting to turn over, and it still is. But in the last couple of years, I've seen it grow exponentially.
So let's talk about 5 years ago on April 11th. The doors opened to the entire Mercado, and there are literally thousands of people, like a swarm of bees on that place, and you have this bar. And I don't know if you would necessarily were, open and running the way you were, but there were thousands of people there for that event. And subsequently, with other events that have occurred, there are several hundred people that show up to these events that happen at the Mercado. How do you run your business that's a small little sliver of a bar that serves alcohol to, those extra seats outside? How do you make that work? There's just so much foot traffic that goes in there, and just one quick point of sale. How do you operate that?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I think you learn through trial and error, and we definitely over 5 years have evolved to make it a much more efficient operation. But I was really fortunate to work the original marketing manager, Jamie Melton. She's no longer at the Hacienda, but she was a tremendous collaborator and partner in understanding how you run a big event and trying to look at that as a separate kind of entity. So for all big events, I get a license from the OLCC and the city of Portland, and they rope off the entire perimeter of the actual Mercado, and for those big events, the entire Mercado is accessible and allowed alcohol. So by the carts, by all the tables, by the food carts, any place within the Mercado, they're allowed to. Now, they have to wear wristbands, and we have to be careful. But we put up a secondary bar across from the food carts. So that kind of runs sangria and beer and wine. We have the main bar, and then just because of the traffic, every place is allowed to actually access alcohol for those big events. So that way we don't have to keep, now there's got to be monitors and alcohol monitors and wristbands, and we have to run it with a lot more people. But that's the only way we've learned that is really feasible, is making alcohol just part of the function for the total Mercado.
Very cool. Because I mean, having spent 20 some odd years in the restaurant industry, sometimes obviously places bite off more than they could chew. So knowing that the Mercado and your operation can still achieve what you want to do with the place, which is be a community spot and a place of celebration, you can still take care of that and provide the hospitality and service that you basically open the bar in order to give to the neighborhood. So that's really good to know that you can do that.
Yeah, I think service is really that's just an innate part of what Barrio is that we just want it to be we treat it like it's our house, and so we invite guests to our house. We just want to make sure we don't have the largest selection of beer or wine or drinks, but we just want to make it like a place where people can gather, bring their families. A lot of people walk here. They bring their dogs because they know how much I love dogs. They bring their kids, and they a lot of celebrations, whether it be birthdays or family get-togethers, when people come from out of town, and that's a real joy, is that people can come from across the country, around the world, and they're able to really experience, and they can eat Hispanic food. They can drink different things. They can shop at the market, and they can really also experience really special events. Day of the Dead. We have our anniversary party. We have Taste of Latin America. We have regional festivals. We have different festivals that celebrate certain foods, tamales or empanadas. And so there's just a lot of different, ways you can actually bring people in. We the core of the bar is really music. So we have normally starting this time of the year, we'll have music, 4 or 5 nights a week. And that's always food and drink, and music is always a great component of culture that really kind of runs throughout all people's lives.
That's awesome. Do you have any plans coming up anytime soon? I know that we're still in this figuring out what's going on, but not just as the bar, but as the entire community kind of gathers around at the Mercado. Is there talk about how you're looking at how to plan for opening things back up, and just reminding people that, hey, once it's fully safe to do this again, we are the community center. We are a place where you can come and gather again. Is there anything planned for that?
Yeah, I think we're not because we don't know the exact dates. We're not putting out events yet, but I think we're also the bar specifically. I'm starting to look at what social distancing would look like, inside and outside the bar. So, how many tables are we going to have? How are they spaced out? How many bars how many seats at the bar? About how do you take orders? How do you maybe space off or tape off seating outside on the patio? And then how to make that efficient, so people, because I think, to be quite honest, until there's a vaccine, or until there's really a point where people are absolutely comfortable with being around people, I think there's always going to be a discomfort, and so that's going to last a year. So we're just looking at how can we make the actual space comfortable for people while still keeping socially distant, and not creating a congestion. I think the other thing, what we're doing is, while we're not having events at the bar, we're trying to celebrate certain things by continually just to generate interest around the things that we do, but modified. So as an example, the bar's still open for to-go sales, and I always there's always an artist that installs and displays on the walls of the bar every 2 months. So while we're not, we're not going to be able to have the reception for an artist, and we're not going to, obviously be open full time.
Mhm.
For people that do come into the bar for to-go sales, we are moving ahead and installing like the next month's artist this weekend for May and June, and it's on photography from like Cartagena and from Colombia and from Mexico City, and so people that come into the bar can still be inspired. They can still, get a sense of just something to see while they're here.
Mhm.
Or another example is as well, we're not going to have a party. We'll definitely celebrate Cinco de Mayo in like our own way. We'll have a
Yeah.
giveaway for anybody that buys something from Constellation. We're going to have a Mother's Day promotion featuring Katie Mugs ceramics and something around that. So we'll modify. We'll try to be relevant. We'll still try to like move forward so that as this the opening, I think, is going to be phased in.
Yes.
Slowly going to, open certain businesses. We'll just, constantly, like be aware of what's going on and try to modify it and evolve around it. I will tell you the one thing that's really been a help is the vendors and the businesses on actual Foster have really like, we all talk to each other, we support each other, we help each other in any way. There's people like, Travis at Borrowed Times. He's like done quite a few murals in the city on his, shop Idle Hands, and he's like gotten some attention to the neighborhood. He's going to do some work for the bar, pretty soon. There's always just a really strong community of business owners and small business owners, here. So I think the people have really looked to shop local, to shop small, to like support each other, and to really do it on a consistent basis. And I think that not only helps everybody, but it specifically for me, it lifts my spirits, and it really makes a big difference.
Well, one thing I'll let that basically be the end of it, and I will second that idea. Having you as the owner, as the operator of Barrio, has also lifted the spirits of a lot of people in this neighborhood. You are at a perfect corner, and not just the perfect corner of where the Mercado meets Foster, but the corner of that building. Like, we walk into a place that just feels like home, and also kind of feels like a vacation because of the atmosphere around there. And you at the center of that has been something that has delighted many of us in the neighborhood. So I want to thank you for sticking it out, finding a way to evolve, and continually being here for this community. So thank you very much, Chris.
Yeah, listen, that means a lot to me, because really that's like the ultimate and the most, like, the best compliment anybody can give about the business or myself. So I appreciate that.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you get back to it, because you're actually at the bar getting ready to open it up now, correct? You're
yeah, correct. Yeah.
Well,
listen,
everybody.
I appreciate the opportunity and the time. It's great to like just verbalize some of these things with people, and I think by talking through it with other people, other business owners, other people of the community, it just makes you stronger, and it makes you more united, and it's really just wonderful to see. In this time of like darkness, there's always a lot of light, and there's always just a lot of love from people, and that's always just the thing that I think sustains you.
Well, good. Get to it. Have a good night, and we'll keep coming in as we can, and you keep letting us know what you're doing with the bar.
All right, man. Take care of yourself. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
All right, you too. Bye.
All right.